us. The Saints get hammered by the NFL. The reason why, I guess because they lied directly to the NFL when they were told to stop, they did. That's the reason Belichick, when they told him to stop, he did. When they told the Jets, the Saints to stop, they didn't. And Peyton gets a year no pay. Williams indefinitely, Loomis 8 games, and the franchise gets hit with a couple of number 2s and some cash. That's the Saints story. Now, we'll get to that in a little while. We'll spend some time on that later. Now, the Jets. The Jets, when I heard this yesterday, I have to admit, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't see the fit between the Jets and Tim Tebow. And then the more you thought about it, the only thing that made sense to me is the same thing it is for the Jets all the time. Folks, this is not a football decision. They'll tell you it's for the Wildcat, and they'll tell you this is a absolute get some buzz, get the franchise back on the back page, sell some tickets, sell some jerseys, dollars, dollars, dollars. This is dollars over cents. Dollars over football sense. Because tell me how this improves that football team. Tell me what you are right now. What is this offense except now a colossal disaster and a mess? And you want to put some pressure on Tebow, on Sanchez? You did it. Now every time he throws an incompletion, the Tebow fanatics, and they come in mass. They come from everywhere. Okay, and they will be in that ballpark. They will start chanting his name. The last thing you want is to put a young quarterback who's trying to build himself a foundation, is put a secondary quarterback behind him, a backup quarterback behind him, who is one of the most popular humans on the planet. Even though his play is extremely limited and he can't throw. So if you're going to tell me that Tony Sparano and company there are going to now turn this into, a total ground attack with Tebow, and this is going to be the idea that they are just going to line him up in the Wildcat and away we go. Tebow in the Wildcat basically says, hey, I'm running. It is not effective like it is when Tebow's running a regular offense. That will wear off in a week. So the idea you bring this guy in, you know why they brought him in? They brought him in for 2 reasons. They brought him in because they had empty seats. They brought him in because the Giants won the Super Bowl. The Jets can't stand being ignored. And this is Woody Johnson. This is not football. This starts with the owner and his stooges underneath him. Stooges. Because they are a laughing stock now. The Jets can't help themselves. They were in on Peyton. Peyton slammed the door on them. The idea, we really were in on Peyton. You weren't in on Peyton. You would have crawled to get Peyton Manning in here. Why? Because he'd fill your building. The Jets are in competition with the Giants. They're in competition with the Giants for the people who buy the seats that are empty, for sponsors, for suites, for the big ticket items. They're in competition with the Super Bowl champs. That Giants Super Bowl was a shot to the solar plexus for anybody in a Jet uniform and anybody who has anything to do with that franchise. From the owner on down, it was a shot that they can't recover from. And they had to figure out a way, how do we make the Jets important again? How do we get the buzz back? Well, we'll get it back, but it'll have nothing to do with football. It'll have nothing to do with winning games. And let them come out. Let Rex come out. Okay? Let Sparano come out and tell us how having Tebow will make the Jets a dynamic offense. If you believe that, then you will believe anything. It is utter nonsense. All they have done now is cut the legs out from under their quarterback, who they just gave more money to. They cut the legs out from under their quarterback. And they created a chaotic, dysfunctional offensive system. They've been a dysfunctional offense because Rex really don't know what he's doing offensively. And he let Schottenheimer do it, and then he probably just fiddled in enough to mess it up even more. And now we're going to go back to ground and pound. We're going to go back to ground and pound, but then we're going to flirt with Peyton Manning. When Peyton Manning said he had no interest in coming to New York, well, we don't have an interest in that. Now we'll get all our eggs in the Sanchez basket. And now, wait a second. Peyton Manning goes to Denver, so now Tebow can come here, and he can sell jerseys, and he can sell tickets, and he can get us a lot of buzz, and he can get us noticed. So now we'll bring him into this circus. And that's what the Jets are. On the field, they are a three-ring circus that just can't deal with the fact they are in a town with a better organization, with a better ownership, better coaching, and a better organization that knows how to win and to do it the right way, with class, with dignity. They lose right, they win right. And the Jets are chasing their own tail, and they're chasing a giant tail, and it never stops. On to the next quick buzz for the Jets. How do we get some publicity? How do we get some buzz? Hey, listen, will they sell tickets? Yes. There are people who will show up just so they can go scream for Tebow to get in the game. He has a following. Tebow is a phenomenon. I don't know how to explain Tebow's popularity. It's insane. It's real. I admit it's real. He will sell you tickets. He will not win you games. It's not Tebow's fault. Tebow is what he is. People are using Tebow. He is what he is. That's fine. But now you bring him in here, and what are you now? How do you explain what the Jets are offensively now? What are they? What is Tebow's role? He's not running the same offense you're running with Sanchez. And what is he here to do? What? We're going back to 8-10 Wildcat plays a game with Tebow? No. Tebow's here because go to the Jet website and see how many empty seats they have. See how you can buy seats on every single level. What Tebow will do is he will create a buzz. There's no question. The thing the Jets can't deal with is they can't deal with losing sponsors to the Giants, losing suite owners to the Giants, and they can't stand having empty seats. They want to take care of all that, then they'll worry about the football. Tebow gives you that. He brings that with him. The only way they could get rid of him in Denver and not have the fans have a mutiny was to bring in a legendary quarterback. That was the only way they could get out from under Tebow mania in Denver. They couldn't replace him with a mere mortal. You had to replace him with an immortal quarterback. Then you could do it. And think about it. Jacksonville, where he could have filled that building even more completely than he'd fill a New York building. They didn't even cough up more than a 4th-round pick for him. If they would have given a 3 or a 2, he would have been in Jacksonville. They looked at it from a football standpoint and said, we pass. Not the Jets. Not when it can be a 3-ring circus again. Not if it means one jersey. Not if it means one luxury box. Folks, with the Jets, it's always about the sizzle, the buzz. That comes before the football. That's why when the Jets embarrass themselves on the field and off, their owner calls the coach a genius. A genius at what? At what he cares about, getting publicity. That's all. Of course they want to win. Everybody wants to win. They don't know how to win. They have no clue how to win. And when they got close, they patted themselves on the back so hard they almost fell over. And now they're 8-8. And they're looking at a season where they are going to get relatively ignored in a town where the Giants are the Super Bowl champions, and that is a fate they can't live with. So as soon as the next possibility for some sizzle comes around, they jump on it, even though it makes no sense. From a football standpoint, this is a colossal disaster. It makes no sense. You are going to cater your team and build your team around what? If Sanchez is no good, then fine. Go get a quarterback. You're going to tell me the quarterback of your choice would be Tim Tebow? Must have really been impressed by the fact he was able to score that touchdown on you. Tim Tebow is probably the hardest guy in history to try to build an offense around and win consistently in the NFL. It will be almost impossible to do. That's how bad his throwing ability is. Can he run the football? Yes. Can he have his moments? Yes. But remember, a lot of that, if you go back and analyze it, was some of the flukiest stuff we've ever seen. You had guys making 69-yard, 68-yard field goals. You had guys making 60 yards and coming back and making 67s after it. You had teams making the dumbest mistakes you ever saw for him to win some of those games, like the Bears. This was not a normal situation. It was like hitting a lottery. It was one of the strangest things I ever saw that Denver made the playoffs. And in the playoffs, they got embarrassed. He does not bring any help from a football standpoint. And then how do you in any way think this helps the development of Sanchez? How can you say you have a commitment to Sanchez and then bring Tim Tebow into the circus, a guy who will get so much attention as a backup quarterback or as an entity, or as a 8-play entity, will get so much attention, he will absolutely demoralize your quarterback. Every time there's an incompletion, that place will be yelling for Tebow. They'll be screaming for Tebow. Is that the kind of pressure you're looking to put on Sanchez? That creates a 3-ring circus. Give the Jets an opportunity to embarrass themselves from a football standpoint. They will never pass it up. With them, folks, it's not about winning. Winning is secondary. The first thing is fill the building and sell the merchandise. That comes first. That's why they're always after the guy with some sizzle, whether it was Brett Favre, whether it's Peyton Manning. And I understand Peyton Manning helps you in a lot of ways, okay? So I don't blame them for that, even though that was risky for them, the way they were built. But it wasn't going to happen. So they get out of there quick. And then they turn around and bring Tim Tebow in here for a 4th-round pick. They actually give up a draft pick to get him in here. Well, the way they've been drafting recently, it might not be that a bad idea because they just waste the pick anyway. But the point is, there are people in the league right now laughing at the Jets.
So am I.
And if you think Tim Tebow is going to turn things around for the Jets on the field, come on. That is going to be what you're going to build. I can't wait to hear the Jets try to explain. And I don't know if this just came from the top where they were all, as they'll tell you, we were all in on this. We always try to improve our team. We always take a step. This doesn't improve your team. It turns your team into a colossal joke on offense. It turns the team into a dysfunctional mess. It just shows you that the 2 years were a fluke. And if I hear one person say that Tim Tebow was brought in to straighten out the locker room, you think Tim Tebow is going to straighten out the Jet locker room? You think guys like Holmes and Cromartie are going to pay attention to Tim Tebow? If that is your take, please save it. It cannot be. If you think he will unify that team, how fast did Denver try to move in another direction after all their miracles of last year? A colossal joke. Back after this.